my screen with you. Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Is it
ma'am.
small or is it big? Like, is it okay now?
Now it's fine.
Yes, ma'am. It's
Yes,
okay
ma'am.
now.
Because if the students will be joining, I have to shift. Okay. So we discussed the other day till unity of command. The first four principles of management given by Henry Fayol we had discussed. So I aim to finish all 14 today. So we will continue in the same mode, in the discussion mode. So now the unity of direction. See, the unity of direction also says that there should be one head and one plan. One head means that there should be one manager who is focusing on activities of which aims at similar objectives. Wait, somebody is asking for permission. Okay. Which aims for the manager should be looking after the activities which are aiming at similar objectives. So all the activities which are aiming at which are targeting similar objectives are clubbed and they are under one manager. So it comes under unity of direction, which says that there should be one head and one plan. So he must be having one plan which is aiming at one objective, and he is able to coordinate among all the different activities which are heading towards that single objective. That makes sense to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So if it is done by us or if it is done by you in an organization, what do you think? How will it benefit? Mhm, mhm, mhm. Okay.
Also, ma'am, this would unity of direction would mean that all your activities are moving to in one direction. So
Mhm.
basically, there would be a coordination between the activities. There would be an
Exactly.
integration between the activities. It will lead to efficiency as well as effectiveness in the actions that are done by the employees and the
Mhm.
managers all together, and the goals would be achieved in a much better way.
Correct. So, like Adil and Arma, right, Arma? Arma, you just mentioned. So, it allows people to, to take care of all the related activities so that they don't have to depend on others for one job or the other. And as you just said, that it also helps in coordination of all the activities, because all activities are moving towards one goal. So they may see that if all are being, you know, well coordinated or not. So it all together leads to unity of action as well. It ensures that all the activities are done to achieve the objective, and not only few activities related to particular goal which are under him, but he ensures that all the activities are moving towards the goal at the same time. So it also ensures unity of actions, that all actions are being taken. And if it is not done, then of course what the advantages are, it can be discussed in the form of disadvantages. Again, Adil, there will be duplication of efforts. People would be, maybe he is also doing some, there may be overlapping of activities as well. So that would be one thing. They would be not such effectively, they may not be able to move towards the organizational goals, and he may not even able to coordinate among the various activities. That is the basic idea of Henry Fayol behind unity of direction. Okay, so we can
Okay,
move
ma'am. Thank you very much.
to the next point, which is subordination of individual interest to general interest. subordination of individual interest to general interest. Under this principle, Henry Fayol says that the organization's interest, the interest of the organization should always supersede the individual's interest, the employee's interest. Now, what does that mean? That means that we can take an example for example, if an organization is looking for um, to give a contract, for example, okay, maybe the organization wants to give a contract for construction. Now, an employee says that his relative or his known person is also doing the same job of a contractor. So what happens that maybe that contractor may not do that well job, and maybe his reputation is not good, maybe he's not that well known or maybe experienced, but because just because under the pressure of an individual, or just because it is an individual's interest, there is the organization employs that. So here this principle is not met, because the individual's interest is given more importance than the organization's interest. So what Henry Fayol means here, that the organization's interest should always supersede the individual's interest. It also helps that in individuals seeing their interest within the organization, they may not be seeing themselves as an individual, but this would lead them to see them as a part of the organization. So whatever is the company's interest, larger interest should be taken care of, and the employee should also find their interest in that bigger goal, bigger interest.
So, ma'am, it can be said that this principle helps in integrating the interest of individuals with the interest of the
Yes.
organization.
Exactly. The individuals are able to find their interest in the organization's interest, and also they are able to relate themselves, integrate their interest with the organization interest. Correct. So,
But ma'am, this can be considered as negative as well, because workers will be discontented from that part because their interests are degraded in that manner.
no. Not really, because they will be in fact more satisfied. They will be more satisfied because they would feel that where they are working, that place is able to integrate their interest. They is able to absorb their interest. See, individual might come with their own interest in the organization, so organization need to take care of that. Like I just gave an example. So the organization need to take care that they don't let individuals take the command. They have
Yes.
to control them at some point or the other. We talked about authority. That is okay. They should be given authority in decision making. The example which I just shared, if for example that contractor is chosen, but then his worth or his talent should be shown. The company should be uh, employing him on the basis of his talents, not on the basis of doing a favor to somebody. Because if organization would be continuing to satisfy the individual interest, then then other individual would also ask for his favor next time. That way the organization would not be able to move very effectively towards its goals. And not really, they will not be dissatisfied. At the end of the day, they will, when the organizational goals will be met, when they will be able to perform in the light of the organizational goals, they will be satisfied.
So,
Eventually, yes.
ma'am, what you're saying here is that we need to focus both on organizational as well as individual goals, right? So, like fulfilling individual goals will lead to organizational goals. Are we saying that over here?
We are saying that we should give more importance to the organizational goals, and they should always supersede individuals' interest. Individuals' interest should not take a front seat. they may not um, overshadow the organization's interest. That is what I'm trying to say. The organization interests are most important. That is what I'm trying to say.
We can,
There should be a
ma'am, take as an
there should be
example
a
that
coordination. There should be a coordination always among the organizational interests and individual interests. So side by side, individual is also able to, not interest. We can say goals, individual goals. For example, in the Maslow's theories, most of you like know about self-esteem and self-actualization. So personal interest should also be coordinated. They should go hand in hand, right? But that kind of interest, but not any monetary interest or any that sort of interest should not take a front seat as far as individuals' interests are concerned. But individuals' goals are, of course, important, and they should be uh, there should be coordination between organization goals and individuals' goals. Okay, but not the but organization should not run according to the individual's interest. They should run in the light of their own goals. So, am I able to explain better?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And one more important point you just reminded me is, rather saying individual goals, we can also say group goals, team goals, because people should not in the next few points you will come to know that people should not say I, they should be saying we. So group goals should be attained, and when group goals are attained, it is ultimately the individual goals which will be attained. Okay, and if it is done, then employees will be focusing more on the group goals. There will be more of a kind of a team spirit that also we would be discussing in a future point, in a point which is coming up. And if it is not done, then you can imagine the condition in an organization if they are not going to, run according to their goals. Okay. They may not be able to achieve organizational goals in that way, in that scenario, ultimately. Is screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
All right. So the next point is remuneration. Remuneration of the personnel of employees. So remuneration we have to see from both the aspects. First, from the employees aspect and also from the employer's aspect. Simple, that when remuneration of personnel is done, they would expect remuneration on a very fair basis, on a very on a very transparent basis, that they may be treated fairly, they may be paid fairly. So the methods of remuneration should be very fair and transparent. Then it should be satisfactory. The employee should be satisfied that what work I am doing, I am being paid according to that. Because if he would feel that I am working too much, they are making me work too much of labor, but they are not paying me, that would ultimately lead to
Discontent.
dissatisfaction, and then that would lead to
Protest, chaos.
chaos, and then
Ma'am, they might protest
Lockdown.
against the employer.
Resignation.
so they may
Inefficiency.
leave the organization, they may be employee turnover.
Yes, ma'am, they may protest, right? Yeah.
Yes, they may protest, and they may even leave the organization, they may even quit. So that is important, that they should be satisfied with their pay. And the minimum thing that they would expect, Henry Fayol said, that the minimum thing that they would expect from their pay, that it may provide them a comfortable, reasonable standard of living, so that they may have a standard of living reasonably. They can live their life through that pay. Now this is from the employee perspective. Now if we see from the employer perspective, then What would you say? For example, you are the employer. What would you say about the remuneration? That should also be within your paying capacity. भाई
Yes,
आप लोग
ma'am.
Yes,
It should be
ma'am.
करेंगे
reasonable
as much
as
as
per the
you
work.
have your
See,
budget.
remuneration is market competitive when within the budget itself.
Huh. So from the employer perspective, also we have to see that the pay which maybe the employee is demanding should be within the paying capacity of the employer. Okay, maybe it could be paid according to the piece rate, like how many pieces are one piece $1, 10 pieces $10. So there are many ways to calculate their pay on whatever basis they are paying. So accordingly they can pay. An employer should also be able to pay. He may not feel that the the union, like you said, they may protest, so they are demanding too high. They are not working that much, but they are demanding, their demands are too high. The employer should also not feel that. Now, if the pay is satisfactory, the employees would be feeling, like you said, otherwise they will be dissatisfied. But if the pay is according to their expectations, they would be feeling satisfied. There would be reduced labor turnover. They would be, feeling more motivated. They would be feeling more closer to the manager. They would be having a cordial relationship, a healthy relationship among themselves and the managers. So this is how remuneration of personnel, remuneration of employees, if done in a fair and transparent manner, it is beneficial to the organization. Then we come to centralization. So how would you define centralization?
Ma'am, the authority is in the hands of one person or somebody who is directing the employees in an organization.
And what is decentralization?
Ma'am, devolution of powers. Like for example, in the case of India, we have central government, then we have state governments. This is the decentralization of power in the case of a country. So in the same way, it should go in an organization as well.
Okay. So you are correct. So centralization is when the power is concentrated, when the concentration of decision making authority is there. Concentration means that it is at one place. Concentration refers to this. And decentralization is when there is dispersal, when there is dispersal among various levels, or where there is dispersal of a decision making authority among more than one group, then it is decentralization. So Henry Fayol focused on centralization. Why did he say so? What did he foresee? According to him, he said that there needs to be a balance actually between centralization and decentralization. There is need, like we discussed earlier, there is need to involve people, but there is a need to balance the subordinates' involvement with the final authority. And he also said the degree of centralization, how much the power needs to be decentralized or centralized, that all depends upon the circumstances. For example, if if the decision is hard, if the decision is tough, then the company can think that whether they need to centralize the power or they need to decentralize the power. So it may depend upon the circumstances and how they decide, how the company decide accordingly. Because sometimes when the decision is tough, when the decision is harsh, the power is centralized. And in many cases, when the decision is tough, when they need to take any harsh decision, they try to involve everybody and they like to others to participate. So it all depends upon how the company is taking care of the circumstances. On that basis, they centralize or decentralize. Now, how could it be helpful? Centralization?
हम centralization से ये होता है कि there comes an authority with centralization के उन्होंने कह दिया तो कह दिया भाई उनके पास power है अब आप you have to obey listen and obey
इसका बेनिफिट क्या
बल्कि
होगा?
Quick decision
Ma'am,
making.
it will lead to fast decision
Ma'am,
making.
It will lead to fast
there
decision making. They
there
will not
won't be any
depend upon
conflicts.
others for their decisions, and they are thinking or they are just discussing. They can take a very fast, quick decision. And
Also, ma'am, with authority
No
comes
conflicts.
responsibility. So the person who has the decision making authority would also be answerable for the decisions he or she is going to make.
Mhm. So there is also, for example, they are answerable to the
Accountability.
accountability with their they are answerable to their employees if they are making decisions. So one person would be answerable in centralization. And also if authority is given to many, sometimes it helps, and many times people who get the authority, they also misuses, because if there is a decentralization and authority is distributed among many, then the other groups may end up in misusing the authority, because they are not the actual authority, but since they have got it, they may be trying to use it for their own benefit, like for individual interest.
Conflict of interest.
Who knows? Ji Karan?
Conflict of interest.
जी, conflict of interest could be there. तभी तो decision making में फिर delay होएगा, है ना? और जब हम centralize रखेंगे तो जैसे आपके friend ने कहा that there would be quick decision making. ठीक है? All right. So the next point is the hierarchy or scalar chain. See, as the name suggests, hierarchy, the hierarchy is the chain of authority, chain of communication, right? Chain of authority and communication. For example, in our class, if we see that sometimes Parvesa and I discuss and I share with you, right? So it is this way. And if we split it in three levels, then okay, so if I have any confusion, if I have to ask something, I ask Parvesa. Parvesa tells me, then I tell you. So it is a kind of hierarchy or communication. And many a times, most of the times, if you have to convey anything, you share with me. I tell you right away, or in some cases I discuss with Parvesa and then I communicate to you. So that's a kind of a hierarchy which we follow. This is a very small example which I'm sharing, but in organizations you can see it at a larger level. Okay, so what I have done is I can share the slides. I didn't share the slides actually, because if I would be sharing the slides, the matter which I speak is already there. So like we avoid that usually. We want that you maintain some contact and we can discuss. But in this point, since I would like to share this figure, I am sharing the slide. So hierarchy, see, for example, Z is the top authority, and as you see, the other people are falling in different levels. So if D or C has to share something with Z, for example, they have to convey something to N, okay? They will not communicate directly to N. Or if they have to communicate to Z, C will not go directly to Z. C will go to B, B will communicate to A, and then A to Z. And in case C has to communicate something to N, then again Z will communicate to L, L to M, and M to N. It will come in the same sequence to back to C. But C will not communicate directly to N. Okay? Now, how will it be helpful? Because it always runs, usually it runs from top to bottom, right? From top to bottom, there is the orders are passed, and communication is also usually from top to bottom, because they have usually to communicate to bottom level. But then if the bottom level has to go to the top level, then again same sequence, same hierarchy is followed, right? So that is the gangplank route of communication, like I have mentioned. Now, like I have mentioned, the advantages, it leads to the smooth flow of communication. There is a smooth flow of communication among the employees, and like I mentioned, unity of command is followed because the ultimate decision would be resting with Z, right? And it also avoids dual subordination because C would be listening to Z, because if C will talk to N, start talking to N about like some official work, or N also has the some authority, then whom will C follow? Will C follow the orders of Z or N, like we mentioned earlier in the previous point, uh, like
Centralization.
yes. So there's some little similarities, but
So,
then
ma'am,
they
ma'am, this is kind of decentralization, right? Like
G,
centralized authority over here is Z, right?
G,
And then we have other people who
G,
like who might be managers or assistant managers. We can
G,
say, right? Like
G.
this is a management of decentralization, isn't
No,
it?
no, they are not taking decision, but in case they have anything to complain, for example, or if they have any idea, for example, so they have to follow the hierarchy. This could be a form of decentralization, but here I am talking more about communication. Okay. And also the chain of authority, because we are not talking about the centralization, uh, because the authority, whatever authority Z has, A would be having less than Z, B would be having less than A and Z both, and C would be having less than B, A and Z. Okay. So here it is hierarchy as well, and the route of communication as well, है ना?
But ma'am, won't it cause delay in communication? Because we have to follow, matlab,
Of course,
everyone
that
has
is
to
what
deliver
I'm
this
saying. That is
information.
what I'm saying. It is that would be a kind of a disadvantage. But this is what Fayol had proposed. That is what Fayol had proposed, because maybe he suggested a very organized, a very strict manner of communication to avoid chaos or to avoid dual subordination. So he suggested this, right? This is his theory, and always theories have disadvantages,
Okay.
right? Yes. So we come to our earlier slide and we move on to the next point, which is order. Order means that everything, for example, order here, what Henry Fayol's idea was that there should be a place for everything, and everything should be in place. There should be a place for everything, whatever is required, and at the same time everything should be in place. Now everything may include your human resources and also material resources. In material resources we can think of machines, files, and all that kind of items in material resources. So those all should be placed in order, should be organized well. So whenever it is required, they may get it. And also, how can we put human resources in order?
Ma'am, by by employing them at the proper jobs
Correct.
according to their
Yes.
knowledge and qualification and skills that they possess.
Yes, yes. They should be, employees should be placed according to their capability. The position should be justified. They should be not, for example, like I mentioned earlier also, they should be given position according to their qualification, according to their capability, according to their interest, and what they are able to do more effectively. So we would be saying that the material and human resources and the material resources should be placed in order, because it will reduce time wastage. For example, if somebody has to find a file or they want to know where particular machine is located, so they may be doing it faster. They know where the different material or different machinery parts are placed, where is the go down, where in the go down also where the different materials are stored. So that will be very convenient for them to find the materials and files, etc. And accordingly, for human resources also, it will be helping in reducing time, in wastage of time, and also that will increase the efficiency and productivity of the organization because they will be working faster. Next point is equity. So we will go a little faster so we can somehow cover the recap and introductions. Equity. See, equity here means that the organizations are able to share their profit or equity with employees. Whatever profit they get, they're able to share with the employees, and it will somehow bring a sense of loyalty among the employees, because they would feel that whatever profit they are getting, they are sharing with us at the end of the day. And this whole idea, Henry Fayol focused on the kindliness and the justice towards the employees, that the organization is just when they are sharing the equity, their profits with the employees. And this will make the employees more loyal towards the organizations. Again, it will build up a cordial relationship among between managers and the employees, because they would feel a sense of belongingness, a sense of happiness, that we are we are rewarded for our work, and they are so kind enough or just that they were sharing their profits with us. And also it will make a very congenial atmosphere in the organization. Next is stability of tenure of personnel. As the name suggests, Henry Fayol suggested that there should be a stability of people who are working in the organization as far as their tenure is concerned. His idea was, when an employee is hired, when an employee has entered the organization, once he's selected, he should be kept. He should be kept for a fixed tenure, at least. He should not be for 3 months, for 6 months, no, because that will not make him learn anything, or organization would not also be able to benefit from that. So he said that this would lead to less employee turnover, because the employee would be there for a fixed period of time. And since the recruitment, the selection process also incurs a lot of cost, so if they are there for a long time, for a fixed time, it would save their recruitment cost and such cost as well. Okay. And any advantage you can think of?
Ma'am, it can also be said as the term that we use, job security.
Exactly. I was looking for this term, the job security, because the employee would feel secured that I am here for a particular time, and that he will work more with motivation, with encouragement. He will feel that there's job security. He would not feel that he would be sent back home anytime. All right. Now comes initiative. Initiative here, by initiative, Henry Fayol meant that power of thinking out and executing. People should be encouraged to think, to develop some ideas, and then to carry out those plans, basically for improvement of scenario, for the improvement of the organization. And if the employees are encouraged, then they are able to take more initiative. They should be encouraged of whatever ideas they bring. They should not be discouraged or they should be appreciated. Now, how will it help employees? This is simple. I hope you can.
Ma'am, they'll be able to utilize their creativity.
Exactly.
They'll have a sense of utilizing their creativity.
Ma'am,
They will
sense
work
of
more.
participation will be there.
Participation will be there. They will be feeling more motivated that they are, they are being asked of a plan, and they are being asked to, they have the right to carry out
And
the plan.
they will like work more efficiently and effectively in this way.
Yes. Yes.
And they will feel a sense of belongingness in the organization.
Exactly. And also, when they will come up with new ideas, they will come up with new plans, there will be improvement. There will be improvement in their operations, in various activities. Not only efficiency will be there, of course, effectiveness will be there, of course, but at the same time, they will be, kind of bringing improvement, some change to the organization every time. So that is why this is encouraged. And if they are not being allowed to take a decision, to think, then they would be, having a lot of frustration. They would not be able to express their ideas, their plans, and even if they have some innovation ideas, they could bring some improvement in operations, they would not be able to do so.
They will not feel free to express their ideas actually. So,
Yes,
like
if they will
in a
not be
nutshell, we can
motivated.
say that they will feel more frustrated, and they want to be, but they will not, because they will have a fear that they will get discouraged, they will get criticized.
Yes. So
They
that is
get
why it is
get
important to encourage them to appreciate their ideas, to allow them to think out, and also to execute their ideas, right? Good. The last point is the esprit de corps. This is a French word. Since Henry Fayol was a French industrialist, he gave this idea in French, esprit de corps, which refers to team spirit, to
the
union.
spirit of team.
Yes,
They stand for off actually there.
yes, true. So Henry Fayol meant that team spirit, union, is the strength of the organization. The personnel, the workers must not split up. They should stay one. They should be united. And they should replace the term I with we. They should always, believe in we. That will bring more team spirit. That will encourage them to work as a team. And this will also help organization consider themselves as a part of the team. And one more important thing which was, encouraged was verbal communication. Henry Fayol said that written communication does not bring that feeling of unity or team spirit as much the verbal communication brings. So it is important for managers, for top authority, to communicate with their subordinates, with their people verbally from time to time. It this the esprit de corps, the idea of esprit de corps brings sense of belongingness, sense of trust among the employees, and also ultimately it all facilitates in the achievement of goals. So these
Ma'am, I just remember the phrase, it's teamwork makes the dream work.
very good. Yes, it makes sense. Teamwork makes dream work, because teamwork and team spirit can do wonders, right? So these were the 14 principles which were given by Henry Fayol. Um, Sir has also joined. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
हाँ वालेकुम सलाम जरीन.
So we have finished the 14 principles of management by Henry Fayol.
Ma'am, can you discuss Gangplank once again?
Okay. You mean the scalar chain or the hierarchy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I didn't use these slides because then it would, because I wanted to discuss and it already presents all the matter. So the hierarchy shows that how the people are placed in a hierarchy here. As we see, the Z is at the top, and then A, B, C, and D. This is the hierarchy. So D is the lowermost. So the chain of authority and communication usually runs from top to bottom. And the gangplank route of communication here is like it is It could be seen CBAZ and then LMN if C has to reach N. So they have to follow this certain hierarchy. They cannot, communicate directly. They need to report to their top authority, and then top authority would again follow the same hierarchy to reach N. This is the idea of hierarchy or a scalar chain. It leads to smooth communication, like I mentioned, and also that would not lead to dual subordination. For example, if N has to convey something to C, for example, if there's a file to be given from N to C, the N may not give directly to C, but N would send it to M, to L, to Z, and then it would reach to C in the same manner. Because that way Z can also maybe write his comments, because it's a top authority. So he has to follow the Z's orders. So I hope it is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Zareen, can I give an example? I think that would clarify.
Yes, sir. I did give an example of
Actually,
us that I gave a very small example that when you, I, and students, I did say that, for example, when we have to plan something, sir usually communicate to me and I communicate to you all. And it is the other way also. When most of the times when students have to communicate, they tell me, and I convey it to sir usually. So this is what the example which I gave. And it could be also in a larger setup.
actually,
In,
from the organization's point
yes.
of view, I personally experienced this phenomena when I was doing my summer training in Tomco. Tomco was Tata Oil Mills. Later on, it was bought over by Hindustan Levers. So there we received a very unusual complaint from a Sardarji, who said that my beard turns green when I wash with your soap Hammam. Hammam was the soap. Now this was a very unusual complaint, and people initially were smiling and all that, but actually there was a serious point. And this salesman who has received this complaint, actually, if we were to follow the entire hierarchy, this should have gone to the sales manager, and from there to the marketing manager, and then from there to VP marketing, and then it would have come to the production and operations people. But actually, this was very clear that there is some problem in the ingredients, and this was an issue which was to be handled by purchase manager. And actually, there was a problem in the raw material which was purchased, the green color of the soap, and there was some problem in that. So the point is that gangplank is created when there are two ships and one has to move from one ship to another ship, isn't it? So likewise, in organizations also there are organizational silos, if we can call them. And if we were to go by the normal route of communication, it would be very tardy, it would be very time consuming, and it will not serve the purpose. So there should be some system through which the subordinates, maybe from a different functional area, they can communicate directly if there is a issue which has to be handled immediately. That is the point of gangplank. I hope we are able to
So
get
basically,
across this point.
the subordinates who are at same level can communicate with each other without going
Yes,
the entire process of communicating it by authority.
yes, yes, and especially if there is an urgent issue that has to be handled, it doesn't mean that the superiors will be bypassed. They may have to be briefed that this is what is the issue, and that is the reason why we have communicated directly. But there should be some system of speeding up the decision making. That is the point.
Okay, sir.
So Zareen ma'am, मेरे ख्याल से what I suggest is that can we have a combined recap tomorrow, because
जी sir.
these principles, they do consume a lot of time. So I thought let us finish them first, and then we can have the introductions and the recap tomorrow
जी sir.
of all the 14 points. But who will do it? The group which was entrusted with the responsibility of recap today,
Ma'am, Mohammed Hassan are very interested.
or who was scheduled to make a recap presentation today?
So there was two girls who were scheduled, me and Arusha.
Okay. And then Hassan Arif was scheduled for tomorrow.
Sir, today Iram, Shakil and Arusa Tabassum, they were supposed to present today. Iram, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Iram and Arusa were supposed to present today, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And tomorrow, Sayyid Abdullah Tariq and Palaksh.
Ma'am, Sayyid Abdullah Atiq.
Sayyid Abdullah Atiq.
So this we may
Yes.
extend by one more day, and Arusa and Aram may be requested to give the recap of all the 14 points.
Sure, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.